pushing on, but then you went too far. When your ship has sailed and all your dreams are lost, everything is wrong, you feel like it's your fault. Just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just call me. Just call me. Just call me. Just call me. You're stronger now than you ever been. You gotta leave now, it's time to catch the wind. You will climb up high and look through the clouds, and when you're feeling low, I know you'll bounce back. Oh, and just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just call me. Just call me. Just call me. Just call me.
From South Boston Speedway, the SCL Late Model Stock Car Series is ready to duke it out at one of our sport's most arduous stretches of asphalt. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to South Boston, Virginia, where Adam Lowe looks to make it back-to-back nights in Victory Lane, and Barrett Flo wants to make it 2 in a row in the Late Model Series. Last night in the Cup Series, with just a couple of laps to go, Adam Lowe made an incredible move to take home the checkered flag in Loudon, New Hampshire, and he showed everyone on the track and at home what it takes to be successful in this sport and what a winner is made of. The names who have won here are legendary, like Parsons and Petty. Now, who will add their name to the record books in Old Dominion, the state which has produced more U.S. presidents than any other in our nation? I'm Dave Riegel alongside my good friend Zach Woods here in the broadcast booth, and we'd like to thank you for making SRM a part of your evening, because we'll be with you every step of the way, from the green flag to the checkered flag, right here on Sim Racing Media. And Zach, we got to hang out last night for 100 total laps in the Cup Series, and it was a barn burner, to say the least, to watch these guys going at it. And tonight should be no different, as heat racing will be the way that we set the field for the feature as single car qualifying is underway.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm really excited to take a look here with you through the starting order to kind of pick through who's going to be the favorites here at Sobo, because there is going to be a lot of racing tonight here from South Boston. We're going to be treated to, like you said, some heat racing where drivers are going to come out here for 10 laps and be able to put on a show and able to get to the feature event, and that will be a 60-lap feature tonight here, Dave. It's going to be a great contest, but there's a few things to take note of. The starting 5 coming out of qualifying is going to be inverted, so you're actually going to want to shoot for 5th place here tonight, and that'll land you on the pole position for the feature. Also, yellow flags do not count towards the completion of this 60-lap main event here from South Boston, so these drivers are going to have to pace themselves, be patient with one another, because yellow flags do not count towards the end of this race.
Yeah, and that will be something that we'll have to keep an eye on all night long. And as I mentioned, a moment ago, this racetrack has some history locked up in it. Of course, it was used from 1960 to 1961 for the Cup Series. Junior Johnson winning the first race in August of 1960, and Benny Parsons winning the last race, the last Cup race here in 1971. And, as I'm looking through the names here, in the Cup Series at least, who have brought home the checkered flag, I want to just bounce these off of you. Junior Johnson, Rex White, Richard Petty, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 4 times in a row for Richard Petty from 1963 through 68. Bobby Isaac, Richard Petty again, and Benny Parsons. I can't really say much beyond, wow, talk about dominance in Old Dominion.
Certainly some good company to find yourself in. If you win here, you will be credited as a driver's driver. I'm really excited to see who's going to be able to, feed their ego a little bit tonight, challenging what is a pretty difficult racetrack with this many drivers in the field.
Without a doubt. And I mean, as we were talking before, this is the first leg of the Virginia Triple Crown. Of course, it's going to be right here at Sobo to start it off, Martinsville next week, and then following things off, or finishing things off at Langley. So, we're taking a look right now at our current conditions. 77 degrees in the stands, nice and comfortable, not too hot, not too cold. It's kind of a Goldilocks thing if you're sitting here on the front stretch at the start-finish line. And then 77 degrees on the asphalt. So that's going to put a lot of grip in this racetrack. We're going to start seeing some really great racing, as it looks like Heat 1 is now underway. We'll get down here to the racetrack as Joe Owen brings us to green, along with Josh Flynn in the 377. Folks, you're going to have to forgive us. We're not going to have the ticker up. We're going to have to do this radio style, as our graphics program is not friendly to those of us running heat races.
But regardless, we're going to be able to have some great action here as we are set to go underway here. Green flag.
7 cars scheduled for heat number 1. 4 of them taking. Never mind. Josh Flynn decided that's enough as he dives down pit road. Joe Owen leading this piece in front of Todd Russ and Greg Birch.
This one's going to go really quickly. It looks like Heat 1 is a 10-lap race, so these drivers are going to try to dig and get everything they possibly can to get to the end of this as quickly as possible.
Well, and then there were 2. Joe Owen diving down pit road next, as Todd Russ and Greg Birch going to duke it out for the remainder of this first heat on lap number 3. 7 to go now when they cross the stripe, as just 2 cars going at it. Greg Birch here in the 51, trying to close in. We'll see if we can get the battles box running. There it is. In the lower right-hand corner of your screen. We want to thank you for making us a part of your evening. As always, here on Sim Racing Media, we have just about 7 nights of racing here on SRM. It's something really special here. And speaking of really special, we're just about at the halfway point. When they cross the stripe, we'll have 5 to go.
It's going to be an interesting battle between Russ and Birch here, because there's not too many places to run and hide if you're Todd Russ. You got to keep that car on the low line and hope that the 51 can't boop you out of the way.
No one wants to get booped, as you say. But right now, the Black Rifle Coffee Company Chevrolet diving down underneath Todd Russ, and he makes the pass for the lead, as Greg Birch took 7 laps to get around him. Now it's a matter of, can he hold Russ off? All of a sudden, Joe Owen back out on the racetrack for reasons we can't quite explain, keeping himself way above Josh Flynn, but about to be a lap down as we have 2 to go. Popsicle sticks in the air. They haul it off into turn 3. The white flag goes in the air from our starter, and we're racing back to checkers.
Looks like Greg Birch is trying to pull away here from Todd Russ. We're not quite sure how this is going to translate into your starting field. We're going to cover that for you in just a moment, but looks like Birch is going to be able to take this heat, muscle it away from Todd Russ, and be able to take the victory here in this heat.
And the checkered flag flies, and of course that's about the same time that timing and scoring wants to act goofy on my screen.
So it looks like we're going to be able to set the field for you here momentarily. The drivers are in a drivers meeting. It's going to last about 3 minutes long. We've been informed this evening that they will take about 3 laps to pace around this 0.37 mile racetrack before the drop of the green flag. So they're not going to catch us unawares this evening. They're going to be able to pace the field, kind of get a feel for the race cars as the track gets full with vehicles. Taking a look at timing and scoring right now, at least on our end, it seems like we're going to have 32 cars for this event here at South Boston. Not a lot of places to go and hide, and if you didn't qualify well, you're going to be feeling it. Or if you're Greg Birch and Todd Russ, you might be feeling good that that's what you won this evening in terms of a spot to get into the big dance, but the leaders are going to be on you very, very quickly.
And as we get the starting lineup here for our feature tonight, 60 laps, of course, the scheduled distance, as we mentioned. Caleb Willett sitting on the pole in the 010 with Chris Myers, probably not that Chris Myers, driving the number 24 on the outside. Kevin West and Jacob Hefner on row number 2 as we get that beautiful bean footage here at the bottom of your screen. Josh Cossack and the rookie Jack McKee in the 357 going to be starting on row number 3. Row 4 made up of Nick Reynolds and Caleb Gennard, another rookie here in the top 10, just ahead of Austin Call and Justin Lewis in row number 5. Barrett Flo driving the number 92. He's going to be on the inside of row number 6, as Connor Jones going to be on the outside of row number 6. Row 7 made up of Josh Tarrant-Hill in the 8 car, going to be sitting on the inside of Adam Lowe on row number 7. Row number 15. Row number 15. No, 7. There we go. Row number 7. Row number 8 made up of Isaac Love and Michael Matta. And Zach, I believe you've got row number 9 ready to rock.
After Michael Matta, you're going to find Joshua Broadwell starting 17th. The driver starting in 18th will be Jesse Thomas in that 15 machine. Jarrett Boland is going to roll off P19, and Cody Oliphant, will start 20th. Goodness gracious, Wesley Whitfield, there we go. Come on, Zach, is going to start 21st, followed by Chad Jones, the rookie, starting 22nd. Blake Sutphin is going to start 23rd with Matt Bingo alongside him in 24th. A favorite of the Cup Series, Trevor Dalton, will find himself shuffled way in the back here in 25th, followed by Jack Sanders in 26th. 27th is the Canadian of Bruno Latour, followed by Larry Waits here in 28th. 29th will be Jake Cardinal. We mentioned him quite a bit in Cup Series coverage last night, as well as Michael Rinker often finds himself in Cup Series competition for SCL, making an appearance here this evening. And then followed those two on the back row, you're going to find your heat feature winners of Todd Russ and Greg Birch.
60 laps, the scheduled distance after we get that heat out of the way. That's a good thing as we get the graphics running right, folks. You have to understand, for some reason, our timing and scoring with iRacing, for some reason, does not like heat racing. We've never been able to explain it. All we can do is work with it.
Absolutely.
As we get ready to head down the backstretch here. Now, they got us last night. It looks like the lights are off on the pace car as we dive into turn 3. Cars side by side, drivers making sure that those gloves are nice and tight. Pace car driving past the entry of pit road. Look at me, I got through it tonight.
Yes, absolutely. We double-checked with goodness gracious, we double-checked with the officials tonight, and they said they're going to do about 3 pace laps around South Boston before the pace car will go down pit road. So once that happens, racing will certainly get underway. We're going to be seeing a lot of side-by-side racing by default for quite some time.
The iRacing.com pace car dives down pit road. The man in the stand has the green flag in his hand. Grabs a popcorn, all friends, settle in, we're green flag racing.
And looky here, we got a front row of Chris Myers and Caleb Willett here side by side.
Myers and Willett making contact here in the early goings as now Willett being shuffled next to Hefner. We are under caution as it looks like maybe Greg Birch has had himself an incident deeper back in the field.
Ooh, 3 wide at Sobo. Come on.
You never. Whoa!
Yeah. Ooh,
Oh.
It happened way before him.
I'll say, well, maybe we can run that one back here. Of course, this is a producer's worst nightmare as I sit here searching just ahead. Now we've got to get up to the 921, maybe the 60.
Looks like there's contact between the 71 and the 60. That would be Bruno Latour.
As we do take a look right here, it looks like the 27 checked up, the 60 did the same, and the 71 just plowed into the rear of the 60.
It's so hard to judge that if you're Bruno, right? You just started racing. You don't really know where everybody else's braking points is. You see some jumbling happen in 3 cars in front of you, and it's just a guessing game to try to not run over the next person.
Absolutely. Definitely a game that you don't want to be playing so early in the race. Of course, here we are on lap number 3. But want to welcome everybody into our YouTube.com channel. Make sure that you give us a thumbs up. Subscribe to Sim Racing Media right here on YouTube. Of course, like I said, we've got racing just about 7 nights a week. Of course, we want to know from you here in the live chat, who are you pulling for? What are you watching tonight in the SCL Late Model Stock Series? As, of course, we had mentioned earlier, this is the first leg of the Virginia Triple Crown, and I'll tell you what, that's a really neat concept, if you ask me. I mean, just something different. Not a whole lot of people are out here running a Triple Crown like that.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's a lot of bragging rights on the line when it comes to these drivers. It's really their feature event within the season. It's sort of like horse racing, right? You definitely don't pay attention, well, most people don't, to the entirety of like a horse racing season. But you know what? There are 3 races every year that the general public tunes into because you can definitely do something special.
Absolutely. I mean, at a place like South Boston that we don't get to see, nationally anymore, I mean, obviously still a very popular place to go here on iRacing.com, but, nationally it does not get the recognition that it deserves. Here's a fun one. What's the most recent Xfinity driver who's a Hall of Famer to win here at South Boston?
I'm not brushed up on my
You'll never
knowledge
even
to
get this
that
one. You'll never even get it. Nope. It's
Nope.
Dale Earnhardt Jr.
Oh, my
He won
word.
June 12th, 1999.
Wow,
As we are
there
back,
you go.
underway on lap number 4, everything's shuffling around like crazy. As Greg Birch, it thinks that Greg Birch is in the lead. There we go. He got himself shuffled out. Chris Myers getting a run here. Actually hit, a little bit loose behind. But right now, Jacob Hefner trying to get on that left rear quarter panel of Chris Myers as we head on into turn number 3, the 47. That's Kevin West. It's almost like they hung Caleb Willett, the rookie, on the high side. Obviously, this is almost rookie hazing at this point.
Well, yeah, and you have to be dedicated to make that high line work. And honestly, it's not the place you want to be this early on in the race, especially when you're the rookie. Everybody's got it out for you here. Can't have a rookie winning the Triple Crown, Dave. I mean,
you can't.
you got to make sure a veteran comes out on top here at South Boston.
As we watch him fall like a stone through the rest of the field right now, Jack McKee, another rookie. There's 3 in a row here, and Caleb Clenard, Caleb Willett, and Jack McKee. A couple of was that the 754 getting all kinds of sideways?
Oh, no.
It looks like rush hour on the Schuylkill Expressway, and it's even got the graphics card confused. We're going to run this one back as fast as we can. This should be an interesting look here as we're going to pull this up. Taking a look here at the 754, getting a run on the 357 catches him, and then the 18 collects him, and boom goes the proverbial dynamite, if you will.
I'll tell you who had a front row seat to all this. It would be last night's winner on the Cup Series side, Adam Lowe. He sort of squeezed his way through this.
Going to take one more look from above here, and then we'll get down to Adam Lowe in a moment. As you know what, it almost looks like my 5-year-old playing with a bunch of Hot Wheels cars and just tries to jam them all into that soupty-doopty-loopty. And there they all sit on the living room floor.
Just waiting for somebody to step on them.
Yeah, and it's usually somebody with bare feet. I am that guy. Taking a look here, looks like Caleb Clenard. Nope, we are waiting for everything to get reshuffled here. This could be interesting as we've got 32 cars on this tiny track.
Extremely difficult to keep everything straight, right? With iRacing's timing and scoring, some of these drivers, depending on where you are in the start-finish line, look at that. They're still wrecking.
Somebody really needs to call PennDOT and get these things out of here.
Oh, wow.
I mean, you could be waiting a minute. They're a little tied up right now on I-95. This track is only 4/10 of a mile. It's not even a full half mile. So you're talking about getting 32 cars crammed inside of 4/10 of a mile.
Ooh,
and now the frustration beginning to build over.
Yeah, definitely. And it's so hard, right? Because you're trying to figure out timing and scoring. Depending on where the wreck happens and the pace car comes out, you can get trapped a lap down, and that's just a product of iRacing being iRacing sometimes. And it is tough and frustrating for a driver that's caught in that situation. You could very well go from being mid-pack to being a lap down, and then your race is over.
Oh, without a doubt. I mean, right now we're all but 3 wide here, trying to get everything back in order. As it looks like Chris Meyer is going to be our leader once again. Of course, you have to remember, too, while they were trying to clear their cars from the track, you can't red flag a race in iRacing. So, while those drivers are trying to clear themselves off of the track, the pace car, because it's AI, is just out here making laps and saying, get behind me, as Chris Meyer says, I'm trying.
Yeah, and then some of these drivers who are caught, behind this pace car, and all these other drivers are getting passed, right? Now you got to make up for lost time, and that's when incidences happen, and drivers get frustrated. But a detail for our viewers out there tonight.
Things get dented and people's feelings get hurt. That's the bottom line.
Well, the thing for our viewers is that none of these shenanigans that happen under yellow will affect the end to the race. So these yellow flag laps do not count towards the end of tonight's event.
It has made timing and scoring so angry that it took all of the logos away from underneath the drivers. iRacing just got mad and said, "You figure it out."
That is so nice of them.
Yeah, we really appreciate that subscription that we pay every year up there to, well, oddly enough, Boston, Massachusetts. A little bit different.
Yeah, a little bit.
As we do see the field getting itself sorted back out here. Looks like Jacob Hefner and Chris Myers going to sit atop the pile. Josh Kosick and Kevin West going to be in row 2. A pair of Caleb's just behind them as we're waiting for this to get straightened back out by timing and scoring. The iRacing.com pace car lights are out. Never mind, they're back on. Maybe one more lap of pacing here as we're on lap 7 of 60. Chris Myers in our YouTube.com live chat saying, "Let's go." And Red Devil 5309 giving us some kudos here. Glad to have all of you with us tonight, as we're glad to have you with us every night of the week. Of course, right now I am on loan here in the broadcast booth to the SCL Late Model Stock Tour, as usually you can catch me on a Monday and a Tuesday night. Of course, Monday in the A Lot Cleaner Property Management and Maintenance Xfinity Series, Tuesday night in the SNN Truck Series. But right now, all that matters is Jacob Hefner having his foot ready to go on the loud pedal, and we're under caution again. Just kidding, everyone.
I don't think I've ever seen that before.
No, I feel like maybe the pace car got caught speeding on pit road. But
yes.
that's what it had to be. But anyway, so if you like hanging out with Zach and I tonight, you can hang out with me every Monday and Tuesday right here on Sim Racing Media. As now the pace car dives down pit road once again. We're back green flag racing with Chris Myers.
No.
Oh, and they wreck at the start finish line, and we are.
Oh no!
And it's
the entire
pandemonium
field
in the ring.
The entire field from second place. Yep, some drivers upside down, some going down pit road. Oh no! Oh no!
I don't. There are no words.
It all started from second place. Second place on the outside front row just didn't get going on this restart.
He bounces off the 47. That's Kevin West. And I'm pretty sure Chris Myers and Kevin West are the only drivers that didn't get wrapped up in this.
Justin Lewis is probably counting his lucky stars in the 07 machine, wondered how in the world did I get over here, over the wall and onto pit road, but for the most part, he's no worse for wear.
Folks, make sure, as all of the flash bulbs going off in the crowd, this is what they get to see coming right there toward their lenses. My goodness, I couldn't have asked for a better camera shot there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Give that man a cigar for that. But, you know, this one's going to be hard for race control. And folks, we want to thank everybody who has ever dealt or worked as race control in one of these events, because first of all, trying to sort out blame is hard enough, and then we see things like this. They all get past here, but everybody checking up in the rear of the field just winds up a disaster.
Well, I mean, if I'm one of these cars in the midfield, right, and I see cars flying up in the air like that, my initial reaction is, what's going on with my connection? Because sometimes when your connection gets a little off or your internet flickers out, you get that weird car jumping up in the air bit. Nope, it's real. It's definitely real this time.
This time it is absolutely real. As we have several drivers down pit road getting service. Probably just a little bit of damage, maybe a little oil on the manifold if you were upside down. But, you know, they roll that thing back over, bang out a couple of dents, and you're back underway. As right now, Josh Tarrant-Hill behind the pace car. He may be our new race leader when we get back underway. I'm looking for where Chris Myers may or may not be at the moment. He's definitely not in the Hollywood Hotel. as it looks like Josh Tarrant Hill may be a free pass car. Chris Myers, meanwhile, our former race leader, buried back here as he and the 47 of Kevin West, the only two drivers not involved in that disaster. In fact, let's take a look here if I can get near them. This is producing at its worst when you're trying to get one car and everything keeps shuffling like a deck of cards. Let's see how these drivers got away from this disaster. This is absolutely artful. So we're going to take a look right here from Kevin West's perspective. Of course, we see the pace car diving down pit road, getting out of the way. Kevin West and Chris Myers. Kevin West gets a little bit of a nudge, but he just manages to drive away. The graphics card takes such a hard left turn that we wind up losing exactly where he and Chris Myers went. I'll tell you what, Zach, we've seen some interesting stuff in the SCL the last couple of nights.
Yeah, this probably takes the cake. I think
We're almost on lap 10.
Almost, just be patient, right? Try to sort it out. The drivers were, before that last restart, they were definitely finding their groove with one another. It's just the worst possible scenario for a wreck to happen, right? Right off the front row, skinny little track, particularly long race cars. It's a disaster waiting to happen.
Right. And once again, we want to tip our cap to those that are doing race control right now in the tower, because I'll tell you what, they have to figure out, number one, who's getting the EOL for this disaster. Then they have to get the field sorted out. They have to get some drivers to slow down, stop. And here's the thing. Under caution, if you're a free pass car and you stop, you lose your free pass. Well, if you're simply trying to get out of the way or get below the iRacing standard for speed, to be considered a moving vehicle, now you have to have race control review that, tell you whether or not you actually did stop. It becomes a complete and utter disaster. So, and I've done race control a few times, and I'll tell you what, I would much prefer to go play in traffic.
It is an exceptionally hard job, and I know that for some of these drivers, they double up as driver RCs, right? So you think driving's hard enough, you think trying to compete for a win in a very competitive league is exceptionally difficult. Well, guess what? Now you're playing ref, so it's definitely a whole nother layer of things if you can't have an independent race control that is not racing in the field.
What they need is Joe West, of course, of baseball fame. He was one of those big old heavy-set umpires. You know what? I'm not even going to call him heavy-set. I didn't like him. He was one of those big old fat umpires that would just walk out there and say, no, you're going to do it this way. This is the way we're going to do it. I really didn't ask for your opinion. Sometimes on a night like this, that's kind of what you need.
Well,
I'm not saying that I want to rant about him, but, Speaking of which, right now, Phillies are trailing the Braves 4-1 in the bottom of the 8th right now.
Well, you see, we might be from the same state, but we don't root for the same baseball team. So,
did you want to throw down and fight then? Okay, you just tell me where.
Well, hey! I'm a Seattle sports fan. My dad was from
then
the
it's fine.
Pacific Northwest. I don't got a bone to pick with anybody. So
well, I'll tell you, here is why you can be a Seattle sports fan and a Philadelphia Phillies fan. Are you ready for this? Larry Anderson, our color analyst on the radio side here for the Phillies, is from Oregon, so that's close. That's the best I can offer you. We also have really good beer and hot dogs.
Well, there you go. So These drivers are getting ready to go back to green. I've been paying attention to where RC is throwing down the gauntlet, and now we are back under green here from South Boston. It's Jack McKee and Trevor Dalton up front, I think.
It is. Trevor Dalton running P2 right now in the number 60 Sirius XM Chevrolet. They finally get themselves sorted out behind them here, as we're taking a look at Connor Jones and this knot of rookies. And Connor Jones and Blake Sutphin doing battle here. We've got the 14 in the mix. Oh! Sutphin just gets punted out of the way. And right now we see Chris Myers on the recovery drive. He and Kevin West somehow got shuffled back here to 7th and 8th in our standings. Not sure how that happened.
Yeah, it seems how they did not hit, neither one of them. So we're going to have to ask RC perhaps at one point here during tonight's event how that all came to be.
McKee opening up a 0.6 of a second lead over Dalton. And that's all nice and fine and good. All of a sudden we go back here to where Nick Reynolds is. He's got the 14 getting all kinds of nasty back here.
There it is.
There it is.
Another wreck, a whole field wreck again. People flipping over the inside retaining wall. Log jam here at South Boston.
Well, let's take a look.
And you had mentioned that 14 machine. That it didn't quite start there. Nick Reynolds, definitely the first driver to be involved here in this incident. It looks like here the 754 machine, that AC Delco machine, is going to barrel it off here into the corner. You can see here on the screen, just a little sideways, but that 012 gets a good run, boops him. As we said earlier, you don't want to get booped because, well, this is what happens.
Well, and you can see it right here. I mean, let's be honest. Once that happens, the cars that are behind them, of course, the 47. In fact, we're going to see if we can go right here to the cockpit of the 47 machine. If everything would just stop spinning on timing and scoring so I could catch up with that. There it is. Oh, almost. There it is. We're going to drop right here into the 47. And I want you to tell me where he was supposed to go.
Yeah.
I'll wait. And again, we'll take another look here at from Chris Myers in the 24, because he was in just as much of a pickle here. And we'll take a look from the gyro cam here, as Chris was our race leader.
Yeah, well, yeah, I was just about to say, remember, Chris Myers, the only reason why he was shuffled back here was because an error in timing and scoring, as far as we know, up here in the booth. So that's a hard pill to swallow right there.
Yeah, this is not what you wanted to see from this perspective at all. As we'll take one more look. I mean, fortunately, we've got plenty of time to talk about it. Again, we're taking a look at Chris Myers. I mean, look, he and Nick, Nick goes low. Chris thinks maybe I'll go high. Then he thinks better of it, thinking, okay, I can trust Nick. Because, you have to understand, when you're in a league like this, you get used to certain drivers. You get used to the way that they avoid wrecks, the way that they get through these incidents. And, you think you can trust them. And chances are, under normal conditions, Chris probably could have trusted Nick.
Yeah, and I guess the saving grace for Chris Myers is that the wreck happened, most of the wreck happened underneath him. So being propped up on top of another driver and the pit wall, everything just kind of shuffled around underneath the 24 machine, and when it was safe to do so, he found himself off the wall and carried on. So if you're a Chris Myers fan out there tonight, there's definitely still some hope, but you got to claw your way back from a pretty difficult spot.
So as a Seattle sports fan, obviously a Mariners fan then, have you filled out your All-Star bracket or your All-Star vote sheet?
I have not. of course, I'm in the middle of a move right now, so getting an all-star team bracket filled out is not my top priority. But what is trying to cover this racing here from South Boston.
Well, that was a quick reshuffle.
I know. We have Jack McKee out here now leading the charge.
Taking a look just behind him right now, of course, we see the 60. That's Trevor Dalton. We're under caution again.
Yes, and this happened deep in the field. I believe it had to do with Greg Birch. I think he got punted down pit road. I saw a spinning blackish car just totally losing it off of one of these corners. I could be wrong, though. I've been wrong before.
Well, I'm trying to find it here. Sometimes you just wish that you could get everything slowed down in the world. Actually, it looked like Birch was simply coming down pit road. I don't think he got punted down there.
Okay, so that was my one guess. I did see a car get. Yeah, I saw one car get sort of punted out of one corner and down into pit road, spinning like a wild top. But apparently, it wasn't the 51 of Greg Birch. It might have been Barrett Flo.
Well, now that makes it even harder to find because it's shuffling.
Barrett Flo and or Michael Rinker in the 9 were both just given EOL penalties. So perhaps this is an error on either one of those drivers.
Well, we're going to take a run back and see that. I'm looking. You were absolutely dead to rights. Here it comes. Take a look at Barrett Flo here as they roll it off into 2. He's got Chris Myers ahead of him. Oh, he got punted by Michael Rinker. He was absolutely hammered. In fact, we'll see if... I think we had a drone cam right behind them. So we'll go to that view. Looks like, well, no, he wasn't avoiding anything as Chris Myers was diving down. He just caught that right rear quarter panel and got him out of the way.
Huh.
Well, that's interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. Barrett's definitely... I've come to know how Barrett Flo drives. He's definitely one of those really patient competitors that lets the race come to him. But at an event like this, it's sort of hard to have a race come to you when yellows don't count towards the end of the race. We're back under green.
Absolutely. Right now, the 2 car working underneath Trevor Dalton. As Trevor Dalton, the 2 car is obviously ill-marked, if you will. But Trevor Dalton here in the 60 machine finally gets single file. And, you know, here we talked about it last night at New Hampshire. And we'll see if we can get a good view of this here from the sky cam as Austin Call. This little knot of cars here, that's Austin Call and Caleb Ouellette. Oh! As right now, you're just simply trying to get single file. Get yourselves sorted out and then pick one another off one at a time. We can see these 60 laps evaporate quick, fast, and in a hurry. Are now 42 remaining. Wow. The 357 of Jack McKee getting right down in front of Connor Jones. But you can see these laps start to evaporate once you can get yourself some single file racing. And a lot of times that's something that we default to here on iRacing just to get back underway.
Oh, yeah. When a lap time is 15 seconds long, you know, they're going to naturally go quickly. So it's going to be one thing to get your groove back in a single file line. But just like you said, the driver who's going to win this thing is going to be the one that's able to pick these guys off one at a time.
Joshua Broadwell chasing down Jesse Thomas as we switch back to Justin Lewis, who's trying to be challenged here by Jacob Hefner. As Hefner gets right up on the rear bumper of Lewis. He's still looking to try to make the pass underneath. I think we're going to see him try. As we drift back here to Josh Tarrant Hill, he's being challenged by Jake Cardinal. As Cardinal not happy with 9th position, he wants to get that 8th slot away from Tarrant Hill. As we're on lap 23 of 60, we're just about at the halfway point. We'll flop back up here to Jesse Thomas, who's just really starting to reel in Trevor Dalton.
I've been really impressed with both Thomas and Dalton tonight. They've had their share of adversity, especially that 15 machine. You can see how battle-torn that number 15 machine is, but yet they continue to press on. Some of the biggest movers of tonight is Trevor Dalton and Jesse Thomas.
And you can see these drivers aren't willing to slow down and give each other a whole lot more room than they already have. We'll even go right here to the dashboard of Jesse Thomas. 98 miles per hour into the corner doesn't seem that fast when you consider that we can go up to 200 plus at a place like Michigan, as they were in the Cup Series last week. But still, with basically no room, that 98 feels even faster.
Oh, absolutely. And depending on how you attack these corners, definitely affects car handling and being able to carry that speed. Although, as you said, it's not naturally fast if you're a well-rounded race car driver. But the goal here is to keep up your momentum through the duration of the corners. So you're going to see some of these drivers use that yellow paint to make the car turn a little bit better. That's where a lot of the grip is, and you can see the best drivers in the field right now able to really rack the bottom.
All but 3 wide coming out of turn 2, as right now we've got a 3-car battle between Justin Lewis, Josh Broadwell, and Jacob Hefner. Side by side goes Lewis underneath Joshua Broadwell. Oh! Out of 2. That was probably a DQ right there. Oh! Contacting, still moving forward. Still green flag. Well,
wow!
Thank goodness we stayed.
That was a lot.
Thank goodness we stayed green through that mess. That's for sure. As it looks like Jack McKee starting to put some distance between himself and the rest of the field, as Justin Lewis has crashed. But Jack McKee just had about a 3.1 second lead over the remainder of the field. We'll take a look and see what happened with Justin Lewis here on lap number 31. We see him closing in here. Little self-spin. You know what? Oh! And that was the end of the tail wing for the 07.
There was a lot happening in that series of events. We saw the 14 machine kind of free fall into the battle we were looking at. There was a lot going on there.
Well, we have passed the halfway point here, so during this caution, we're going to step aside and pay some bills here on Sim Race Media. Zach Woods and Dave Regal in the SRM broadcast booth. We'll be back in just a moment. Welcome back to South Boston Speedway in the SCL Late Model Stock Series as Dave Regal and Zach Woods here in the Sim Racing Media broadcast booth welcome you in. Thank you for staying in with us here. Make sure that you're in that youtube.com live chat. Let us know who you're pulling for, what you're looking for in this race, and if you haven't done so already, why haven't you? Make sure that you subscribe, turn on those bell notifications, and give us a thumbs up. That helps folks find us and your friends and family here on the racetrack as we're working lap number 32 of 60 here at South Boston. And Zach, Sobo has been so scary all night long.
Yes, it's definitely an odd event. I guess we've seen cars flip up in the air, cars go up over the pit wall. Sometimes when a wreck happens, it's safer if you're flipped up over that pit wall so you don't get hammered by somebody else. We've seen it all here this evening. Very excited to see how this is going to play out. We've seen timing and scoring issues. We've seen leaders become not leaders. It's just very, very odd, this event here at South Boston.
I would almost say that this is a wild card race, as we've seen, Chris Myers. I don't know why I suddenly couldn't think of his name. I mean, goodness gracious. But as we saw Chris Myers leading earlier on, now as things get reshuffled, the 357 Magnum of Jack McKee, the rookie, sitting on the inside of Trevor Dalton here as we get ready to go back green flag racing in another moment. As we roll into turn 3, we're going to see the iRacing.com pace car dive down pit road. Jack McKee going to have control. He enters the Geico restart zone, hits the loud pedal, and we're back underway. McKee gets a jump here over top of Hefner, but he has to contend right now with Trevor Dalton. As Dalton gets hung out to dry on the high side, he needs to be able to get to that low side of the track, Zach.
The number 95 machine was one of those two cars we saw up front early on, him and Chris Myers. So it looks like the 95 is going to try to claw his way back up to the mountaintop. Now side-by-side racing here for second place, but they are beating and banging for it.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, I'm going to make the nomination early here for that tough luck award, or well, maybe award or tough luck nomination here for Chris Myers, as he was leading earlier on in this race and is now down 10 laps.
Yeah, actually, Chris Myers has disconnected from the session, so he will continue to keep going laps down. He's manually disconnected, probably frustrated with some of the stuff that we've seen. But we're going to be, oh my goodness gracious, trying to lap this 14 machine. Look at the leader just trying to shove him out of the way.
McKee just trying to say, hey, listen, your lap's down, get out of my way. And I'll tell you what, to be honest, he should probably just, they are beating and banging on him. My goodness. We're going to wind up having a wreck. Oh, this is getting scarier and scarier as the lapped car trying to take the leaders out, as now he falls down. If anything, that should probably be a penalty. Back further here, that's Connor Jones in the 14 machine. He is going down pit road. I believe he did receive a penalty from race control. As right now there are two folks here at the top of the pack. That's Jack McKee and Jacob Hefner. Jack McKee, of course, the rookie, holding off the veteran Jacob Hefner. Chad Jones, however, a little bit further back here in the 75. He is probably in the best place on the racetrack. He can log those laps, not overcook the machine, and keep it steady with 20 to go.
Yeah, absolutely. That 75 machine's in a great spot, being able to just kind of pace yourself, right? We've talked about rhythm so much this evening. Not really battling with anybody, not defending anybody, just taking a look at his marks, trying to see how he's going to improve lap after lap, unlike some of these drivers back here that have been seemingly joined at the hip for the entirety of the race. This is a battle back here for 12th position.
And they are battling it out here as Justin Lewis chasing down Caleb Willett in the Busch machine. He's working that low side. He's got plenty of grip down there. He's just got to find that edge. And right now I think he's counting more so on Caleb making a mistake, maybe getting a little loose in one of these entries, as they are absolutely not giving each other any room whatsoever. as that '07 Ford Mustang hauls it off here into turn 1.
Oh, really exciting racing back here mid-pack. These drivers still have a lot to play for, especially when this event's been plagued with timing and scoring issues. You might never know when you're going to be granted the lead. Here's a battle here for 5th place between Matt Mingo and Cody Oliphant here.
As Cody is less than 0.2 of a second behind Matt Mingo, as Mingo decides to haul it off here. He's not coming off of that line. Of course, the front nose of the 012 caved in like a son of a gun, that's for sure. Obviously, aerodynamics not a big deal on a short track. This is more driver endurance at a place like this. And just checking in with our race leader, Jacob Hefner, who got around Chad Jones a moment ago. Hefner now opening up almost a full second over Jones, the 75 driver. Jack McKee now shuffled back here in the 357. Now trailing Hefner by about 1.3 seconds. So definitely starting to maybe fall off a little bit. He's overcooked those tires with now 11 laps to go.
I gotta wonder if that pass happened because of 14 machine again. We see that 14 machine back up here, really digging hard right now with Chad Jones to his inside. Normally, if you're a lap car, you'd sort of roll over and let the field go by, but I guess as a certain popular NASCAR driver would say, that's short track racing. So these drivers are going to have to rein it all in, as there is a yellow now on the racetrack here on lap 52 of tonight's 60-lap event. Oh my goodness, some retaliation.
If that wasn't retaliation, I don't know what was. Let's take a look here and see what happened. Of course, Connor Jones, the recipient here of that, well, I'm not even going to call it a love tap, that's for sure. As the 357 just comes up and shoves him into the 525. Of course, the 525 just kind of, that's Jack Sanders, another rookie here in this league, as he was just kind of collateral damage up there. Wow. So I'm sure...
I mean, I don't, obviously we don't know because we didn't quite cover that battle for the lead, because it wasn't really a battle for the lead as it was happening, right? They were pretty evenly spaced out between the top 3, and then ultimately we were covering some mid-race racing. But as I mentioned earlier here, Dave, when we pan back up to the lead, and second was first and third was second, and then our leader was all the way back into third, I had mentioned, hey, that 14 car has made his way back up here into this front group. Could he have possibly been the reason why we saw that late lead change? Because we mentioned earlier how there was over a 3-second lead garnered by what became our favorite at the midpoint of this event. Perhaps some extracurriculars happening here at South Boston.
Yeah, at this point in the race with 9 laps to go, it's kind of like that old saying. Of course, we were talking baseball just a moment ago. Who's in first, what's in second, and I don't know is in third.
Well, Jack McKee, who was your leader at one point, because is that correct? In that 357, he was in that Havoline machine, correct?
It is the Magnum 357.
So he has been disqualified for that retaliation, I guess. We don't have a direct line to race control. Most times we would have the opportunity to bring them in, but just because of everything that has been happening this evening, we're just going to let them do their job. So everything you hear from us up in the booth is purely speculative, but it's definitely a lot of extra going on tonight here at South Boston.
Extra is definitely one way to put it. Of course, right now, Isaac Love here in the 62 Jack Daniels machine. I'll tell you what, if I was him right now, I'd be pouring myself a couple of fingers of Jack Daniels on the rocks, no water, and just trying to relax, that's for sure. That's how Sinatra would have done it. That's how he should.
Yeah, there you go. Get some Sinatra Select stuff. That'd be the way to go.
I mean,
But,
he's buried with a bottle of it.
Yeah, these drivers are definitely rearing up for some heart pounding action here towards the end. We're going to take lap 52 into 53, and we're back underway.
8 to go now as Isaac Love and Matt Mingo are going to be going at it hot and heavy here. And enter Joshua Broadwell, the rookie. He's got that front right fender ripped off of his machine, but he's not going to be slowed down by that at this point. And all of a sudden, it looks like Isaac Love got a little bit of a run there, able to start closing in here on Mingo, as all of a sudden he is all over that rear bumper of Matt Mingo.
And we do have a wreck here towards the midfield. I think a driver of interest will be Cody Oliphant. If I were to guess, at least from my camera view, it was a pretty long shot, but it was definitely towards the back third of the field where we're going to get this yellow flag.
Well, we'll take a look here, see what might have happened with Oliphant. This looks like he may have simply been collateral damage as well.
It might be Josh Terrett-Hill here.
It could be Josh Terrett-Hill.
Oh, it's Adam Lowe sideways on the track, actually.
Adam Lowe cannot be happy. He can absolutely not be happy right now. Well, we'll go up here to our blimp cam as it was hovering just above this action. As we pull it together here, we can see that's the 58 and the 51. Ah, there it is.
That's just a bit of a racing deal. I think, Adam's getting a low entry in. His car's going to naturally drift up around the midpoint of the corner. Greg Birch taking that higher arc in. He wants to diamond the corner. The two drivers just finding their own piece of real estate. We have seen wrecks tonight resulting because of maybe some driver impatience, but I actually think that is probably as close to a racing event. Racing, how do you call that? Racing, man, why am I blanking on this, Dave? Just a racing deal. That's the slang for it anyway. But a racing incident. There we go. Thanks a lot, Dave. Hang me out here to dry. But
I was going to let you find your way through it. At this point, it's like Helen Keller working for Google.
But yeah, that's about as close as a racing incident caution as we're going to wind up seeing here this evening.
Of course, we were just talking about Josh Terrett-Hill, chief cook and bottle washer in the SCL Late Model Stock Tour out of Mooresville, North Carolina, and I've almost got to wonder if he's ever, walked in there to the gas station and there's old Dale Jr. maybe getting a snack, something to drink there.
Definitely going to be an interesting race here as we are back to green, lap 55 of the 60-lap event. Can anybody chase down Jacob Hefner?
Hefner holding his own, but meanwhile, just behind him, Isaac Love chasing down Matt Mingo once again as the Jack Daniels old number 7 must be running through the... Take out Hefner! Hefner goes around Matt Mingo, shoves him out of the way. We'll take a look and see what happened. My goodness.
Might have been a connection issue as I see Hefner has disconnected, but we'll have to see. Did he get loose coming out of the corner or what? A little wiggle there.
Right. Oh, Mingo just absolutely booted him coming into the turn entry.
Well, I don't think so. I think that's on corner exit. Is it? I could be just totally wrong, but I think that's on corner exit. I think he should be throttling up there, and he just didn't go.
Well, now we have another race leader, Matt Mingo, as Isaac Love going to be following him in second. Caleb Willett in third. Josh Broadwell and Austin Call rounding out your top 5. And with 5 laps to go, we see Greg Birch in the 51 after his scuffle back there with Adam Lowe. running in 6th position. So obviously Adam Lowe not real happy with that. Josh Tarrant-Hill going to be restarting as it's shuffling again. Here we go. We just got to wait for all of the names to get around. As we've got 5 to go here at South Boston.
Well, if you if you would have asked me about 10 minutes ago where the safest spot is, I would have told you first. But that's not the case anymore.
No, sir.
So
the gloves
I don't
are
really
off.
know. Yeah, I don't really know where I would want to be.
I can tell you exactly where you want to be. You want to be either here in the broadcast booth or in the bleachers.
Ah, there you go. There you go.
As Matt Mingo maybe getting right up against the iRacing.com pace car to get some debris off of that bashed-in grill here on the front of the 012. It's going to be Mingo, Love, Willette, Broadwell. As soon as I started reading it, it shuffled again. I read real good.
Lights are out.
Looks like we're going to have a single file restart. Well, it's probably not a bad idea if you ask me. The pace car diving down pit road. Mingo entering the restart zone, gets the jump. He's got 4 laps to hold off Isaac Love, and we're back underway.
12 car is going to try to make hay here, running away from the rest of the field. Will the drivers mid-back on back behave and let these guys up front race? We're going to see here as we now get lap 58.
3 to go. They can taste the checkered flag as we're under caution.
We're going to have to see where this one originated from as we're going to have to take a look at our timing and scoring to see who's involved in this one.
Well, I'm taking a look right now here. Looks like, Adam Lowe getting sandwiched between the 9 and the 58. That was
I had an opportunity to talk to Adam Lowe a little bit after his cup win last night, and he let me know. He said, it's been so long since he's been able to be a winner here in SCL competition in any discipline, for that matter. And he said, I'm really going to cherish this one. He's going to try to string them together. The last 10 minutes have not been very kind to Adam. So the highest of highs to definitely not the highest of highs here in the last 10 minutes or so racing at South Boston.
Well, as we've now got 2 laps to go, and now Matt Mingo, I thought he was going to try to fake us and go down pit road. It's one thing when you're on track and they see somebody faking, but when you're here in the broadcast booth, it's kind of like, I always equate that to when you're watching football and somebody has that play action set up and the cameraman gets fooled. Where the cameraman follows the halfback, and all of a sudden you look and the quarterback still has the ball, and you're like, oh wait, he still has it.
Well, certainly we're going to be in for a treat here in the closing laps of this one. I think that 62 of Isaac Love will have a thing or two to say before these last 2 laps tick off. I've been very impressed with how Love has kind of been able to hold serve here on these restarts and really minimize any damage of the car running away from him in front of him. So if that Jack Daniels machine is anywhere close, get ready to watch that chrome horn come out here, because you really want to be able to get a win here in this special 3-race series, kind of a championship within a championship.
Yeah, and I mean, to have that Triple Crown, that's definitely bragging rights, especially to be at a place like South Boston, as the iRacing.com pace car makes the hard left down pit road. 2 laps to go for Matt Mingo as he goes down the straightaway here into turn 1 and rolls it into 2. We've got popsicle sticks in the air maybe we can make it back to checkers under green.
We're going to be able to see here, Mingo's now pulling away from the rest of the field. He will get lap 60. We're going to be able to see the end of this race here momentarily.
The white flag is in the air. Isaac Love pulled down pit road and got out of the way. That makes Caleb Willett, the rookie, here in P2. Oh, they wreck at the start-finish line. Joshua Broadwell, our surprise winner, with Austin Call and Greg Birch finishing in third. Matt Mingo has got to be the most angry person in Virginia right now.
What just happened here at the end of this event? It looked like Matt Mingo had this one in the bag, and just out of nowhere, you saw the X, it's a 10 machine, right behind him. Just look how deep he sends it into the corner.
Obviously, the 10 really wanted to make a statement here, and on exit at the start-finish line, just plows him out of the way.
I mean, it just looks like the 012 just kind of slowed down there on exit. It really looks like you should just throttle up and leave. I don't quite know what happened.
We're going to look at this one more time from this perspective. Just as the flag, but he just gets shoved.
But it just looks like the rest of the field is going so much faster than the 012 out of the corner.
Well, let's
Could
take
it
a
be
look.
Because of his...
As we're going to go right here to the cockpit. He had his helmet cam running. It almost sounds like they could not possibly have been out of fuel. Oh my God, he ran out of fuel.
And
he ran out of
why,
fuel with one corner left.
That's why the 62 pulled down pit road. You know? So
that makes sense.
Wow, running out of fuel.
What an incredible finish to this race.
And we haven't even talked about the winner, Joshua Broadwell.
We didn't even know he was going to be the winner until 13 seconds ago. It was a half a second to the checkered flag. He didn't know he was going to be the winner. Joshua Broadwell thought he was going to wind up finishing a little deeper in the field as we're waiting for him here. In fact, I believe we do have him. Hey, Josh, it's Dave up in the broadcast booth. You got me?
Yes, sir. Holy crap, that was a wild finish.
Congratulations on the win. Obviously, you weren't expecting it any more than we were up here, as we're still trying to pick our jaws up off the floor. How are you feeling tonight?
Oh, man, my heart's racing right now. Oh.
I mean, how is the car, being able to fight through all of this all night? I mean, obviously, it's been an interesting night so far as all of the cautions and the things that had us slowed up earlier. What brings you here to Victory Lane, and how is that, settling in now?
Oh, man. So I got caught up in a couple of those, where the whole track was blocked up. Fast repair on the first one, just didn't have it for the second one. So I had to do what I had to do and run with the damage I had. And then earlier in the race, about right before halfway, I just knew with all the caution laps we had, I had to get fuel. And I think it bit a few of the guys, and I just had to plan that ahead. But it felt all right, but I was trying to drive it as hard as I could, to stay up there. But with the damage, I couldn't really pass a lot of the guys like I wanted to, but I held it in there and it paid off in the end.
It absolutely did. We're actually, we were kind of remiss because we were in such shock that we're actually taking a look right now at your winning pass as you were loose coming out of 4. As you and Austin came across the line, it was just such an exciting finish to this race. I mean, now here you are, the round 1 of the Virginia Triple Crown here at South Boston. Next week we go to Martinsville Speedway, another short track, another tough competition. What are you looking forward to at Martinsville?
Oh, man, I've been to Martinsville a few times in real life just to watch, and I've made some laps there. It feels pretty good. Excited to run a big Triple Crown race there.
Well, and you can say tonight to your friends and family that you won at the same place that Benny Parsons did. Of course, the longtime voice of EA Sports NASCAR series, and of course the King Richard Petty. And now you can grind your own name into that stone that says that you're a winner here at South Boston. Congratulations. And before we cut you loose, who do you need to tip your cap to and thank, shout out before we cut you out?
I got to thank Mincy's Graphics, a good buddy of mine. He actually sponsors this track as well. Satco Truck Repair, Superior Trailer Repair, and all my buddies that are watching in, Southeast Motorsports.
All right, man. Well, listen, congratulations. Go ahead and celebrate with that team, and we will see you next week at Martinsville.
Thank you, and this was my first win in a league too, so I'm so excited.
Well, congratulations. I can't be happier for you as we move on tonight. So thank you once again. Congrats, and we'll see you next week. And Zach, I believe you do have our now second place finisher, Mr. Austin Call.
Austin, it's Zach up here in the booth. Certainly a wild one, can we call it that? Here at South Boston. Talk to anybody out there in YouTube land about your night tonight.
I mean, I don't even know what was happening. I just know that I guess I played the strategy right of pitting for a bunch of fuel at one point and having just a lot more fuel than everybody else, and got my way to the front. There was a few people in the middle of the pack who were just not driving the best, so I just kind of laid back and let people wreck in front of me, and worked out second.
What's going through your mind? We have a great view here of your point of view going through 3 and 4 that last lap. What's going through your mind as the leaders are running out of gas and running over each other in front of you? What from a driver's standpoint, what is there any thought going through your mind, or does it just happen too quick and you just kind of hope for the best?
I mean, I was kind of thinking in slow motion for that entire last lap. It was like, okay, I'm going to be in 4th. And then all of a sudden, whenever I'm entering turn 3, I see in turn 4, the leaders, he washed up a little bit, I think. And then the 0-1-0 just drive straight through him. I mean, I don't really know how else you can put that. He drove straight through him. And I'll take it. I get second out of it.
Well, the leader, at least from our point of view, ran out of gas, leaving turn 4, and certainly caused a bit of a kerfuffle there. But you managed to squeeze on by and secure a podium finish tonight. Looking forward into these next set of races, what do you look most forward to here with these late model stocks and SCL competition?
So I'm not really running these for points per se. I mean, I'm making the races I can when I can. But like, this is like the second race I've ever driven in this car. So I don't even know what race is coming next. I'm probably just going to show up in the middle of practice if I can, and maybe I'll win a championship, maybe I won't. I mean, we'll see.
Wow. I wish I was that cool under pressure, but there's no pressure for you, as you are just kind of enjoying the night. But certainly a second place finish helps that in that regard. But I want to leave this time up to you, Austin, for thank you, sponsors, and shout outs.
Well, I want to thank obviously my family for letting me do this stuff. I mean, this is not a series I told them I was really running until like a few hours ago. We were out changing it to my flat tire in the middle of a mall parking lot. I'd like to thank my grandma. I know she's watching this right now. She texted me after the race congratulating me. So she's always watching these races, and it's really nice to have her here. And then my teammate for this race, Justin Lewis. I mean, I kind of made contact with him at one point, which kind of screwed up my car, but he's usually a pretty great teammate, someone to talk to as well.
All right, well, that's Austin Call here for your P2 finisher tonight. Go and enjoy it.
Thank you.
And last but certainly not least, driver of the number 51 machine as we get ready to pull him up here. Greg Birch, it's Dave up in the booth. You got a copy, man?
Hey, Dave. Yeah, I sure do.
Hey, brother, listen, congratulations on the third place finish tonight. Obviously, I guess I can't stress enough that you probably weren't expecting to be sitting here as we saw you come across the line third.
No, not at all, man. I started qualifier. My strike of lightning hit right before qualifying started and knocked me off, and I barely made it to the qualifying race. And, man, I don't know how I did it. There's a lot of carnage out there tonight, and I just survived it.
Yeah, you know, we just saw here from your cockpit, you even managed to wind up catching a piece of that 10 car as you were crossing the start-finish line. I mean, what a finish to this race as you had the 10 car nearly shoved across, and then Josh Tarrant Hill almost caught you as well. I mean, take us through some of these wrecks tonight that as we see what that was like, you know, from up here in the booth. What was it like from there in the car?
Man, I was in the back a lot of the first part of that race. I mean, I kept getting run into in the cautions and spun around, ended up losing a lap. And, yeah, I got to wave around at one point, and, you know, I wasn't really around any of the wrecks. I was just, you know, innocent bystander in a lot of the stuff that happened after the caution came out. And somehow, man, I just survived it. I was at like 22x at like 10 laps in, and I just survived it, man. I don't know how I did it, to be honest with you.
Well, however you did it, it definitely paid off tonight as you start out this Triple Crown series here at South Boston with a podium finish. Next week, we head over to Martinsville, Virginia. Besides the hot dogs at Martinsville, what are you looking forward to for there?
Yeah, Martinsville's a tough one for me. I haven't done a lot of laps at Martinsville. I'm more looking forward to the Langley race. That's a track I have a lot of laps in the street stocks in. I'm pretty comfortable with that one. So we'll just see how it goes. And, you know, I'm not the best in here. I wouldn't even say I'm probably a middle of the pack guy. And I just, you know, have fun, love doing this, and, you know, yeah.
Well, listen, before we cut you loose tonight, who do you need to tip your cap to and thank for this run? Give them a shout out here tonight.
Yeah, I'd like to thank SCL, Adam, Josh for putting this thing on, you know, and, you know, Mike Peters for trying to keep us all straight, you know. I'd like to thank my wife for allowing me to do this on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. And sometimes Mondays I get on here. And, yeah, that's about it.
All right, man. Well, listen, congratulations, and we will see you next week at Martinsville.
All right. Thanks, guys. Have a good one.
Well, Zach, after last night's exciting finish in the Cup Series, we can say that here after the late model stocks, this one is in the books, and it is in the history books for excitement.
Yeah, absolutely. We saw a lot of, well, everything tonight. We saw at some points some really competitive racing. We saw other points just drivers, you know, not afraid to use the chrome horn on one another. And then ultimately we saw a driver run out of fuel feet before the start finish line, and ultimately a win was taken away because of it. So definitely an event that we were entertained to see, and really, really excited to continue with some late model stock action with these guys later on in their season.
Absolutely. Well, taking one final look at our results here from South Boston after now that the dust has settled, the rookie Josh Broadwell brings home the checkered flag and the trophy and is joined on the podium by Austin Call and Greg Birch. Matt Mingo and Josh Tarrant Hill round out your top five. Caleb Willett, Barrett Flo, Justin Lewis, Michael Rinker, and Chad Jones make up your top 10, with Adam Lowe, Isaac Love, Cody Oliphant, Jack Sanders, another rookie in the field, Jesse Thomas, and Jake Cardinal make up the first half of the field.
Jacob Hafner going to come down 17th, followed by Jack McKee, Connor Jones, Trevor Dalton, Josh Kosek followed by Chris Myers, who we talked about extensively in the beginning part of this show. Blake Sulfin. Then we are followed with Kevin West, Caleb Clenard, and then Bruno Latour finishing 26th this evening. Larry Waits, Nick Reynolds, Wesley Whitfield, Jared Boland, Todd Russ, and Michael Matta here on timing and scoring, rounding out your 32-car field.
And I'll tell you what, Zach, it has been an exciting couple of nights here with you. Of course, being a little out of my normal element with my normal couple of leagues. So it's been something that I get to say was a lot of fun. It's been an interesting ride. And as much as I want to hang out with you next week when we go to Martinsville here in the SCL Late Model Series, I will, of course, be back on the Tuesday Night NASCAR Truck Series next Tuesday night. Of course, you can also tune in all week long right here on YouTube.com for all of the action Sim Racing Media has to offer. We want to thank you for making us a part of your evening, because we know that without viewers like you, we wouldn't be here getting to watch some of this great racing. So for Zach Woods and myself, Dave Regal here in the Sim Racing Media broadcast booth, the Pennsylvania boys get to hang it up for the night. And tomorrow, as you go through your day, remember that you're special. You're the only one like you, and that makes you as special as you'll ever be. Good night, everybody.